Okay, let's dive in. We're going to be looking at one of the great American plays, A Streetcar Named Desire, but not just as a piece of drama. We're going to look at it as a kind of map for this incredibly timeless human struggle. That fight, the one between the comforting illusions we build for ourselves and the harsh, chaotic reality we're all trying to run from sometimes. And this one line from the play's tragic hero, Blanche Dubois, it's everything. It's basically her life's motto. It perfectly captures her entire philosophy, and it's the very thing that, tragically, sets her up for her own collapse. Think about it. She is actively choosing to reject reality for a world she's just made up. So, what happens when someone's will just isn't strong enough? Well, a lot of the time, they do exactly what Blanche does. They build this thing we're calling an illusory order. You can almost picture it, right? It's like building a fortress to protect yourself, but the walls are made of paper. It's totally fake, super fragile, and its only job is to hide a truth that's just too much to handle. So, how do you even build a fortress like that? Let's take a closer look at Blanche's game plan. She's running from this chaotic, messy past and desperately trying to create this little bubble of, manufactured grace and purity. And the tools she uses, they're not just in her head. You can actually see them. She's got these very aristocratic manners, right? And the expensive clothes that are kind of falling apart. And of course, the big one, she can't stand bright light. She's always seeking out shadows and soft light. So why? Well, it's because none of this is about building a real, stable life. It's all just a stage play. These are just props she's using to hide the chaos of her true situation, her age, the fact that she's broke, and all the stuff she's running from. But here's the thing, right? There's a huge flaw in this plan. This whole defense mechanism she's built, it's as fragile as a pane of glass. It's a temporary shield at best. And you just know, you feel it the whole time, that the real world is going to come crashing in and just shatter the whole thing. Because, every paper fortress eventually has to face the storm. And for Blanche Dubois, that storm has a name: Stanley Kowalski. He is literally the chaos banging on her door. I mean, look at these two. They're polar opposites. She's all about illusion and fancy manners. He is all about raw reality and pure instinct. Her will is weak, built on denying her past. His will, it's primal, it's animalistic. He lives right here, right now. It's the perfect metaphor. She wants to put that pretty paper lampshade on the light, and he just wants to rip it off and expose everything to the harsh glare of the naked truth. And this is a fundamental law of nature, really. Stanley, he's like an animal. He just senses that something is off with Blanche. He can't put his finger on it, maybe, but he knows she's fake. And from that moment on, he basically goes on this methodical and frankly cruel mission to just systematically tear down her whole fantasy world, piece by piece. And you have to understand, this fight between them, it is not just some family squabble. No way. This is way bigger. It's a battle between a rigid, fake belief system, Blanche's fantasy, and the raw, messy, powerful force of life itself. And someone's got to pay the price. You can actually break down her whole collapse into 4 pretty clear stages. First, right, she escapes into her fantasy. Then, stage 2, she lives in denial to keep it going. But then, stage 3, reality comes knocking and destroys the illusion. And what's left? Stage 4, a complete retreat into madness. It's almost like a formula for what happens when your entire world is built on a lie and that lie gets exposed. In that final break, it's brutal. It's the climax of the play. Stanley has already exposed all her secrets, all her lies. And then that final assault, it's more than just physical. It is the ultimate act of destruction. It's reality in its most brutal form, just wiping out every last defense she has. And her mind just completely shatters. And then you get to her last line in the play. It's so famous and just absolutely heartbreaking. As she's being led away, she says this, and it shows she's gone completely. She's not dealing with what's happening. Instead, she's turning it into one last little story, one final fantasy. She's totally incapable of making a conscious choice to face it. She just drifts away. Okay, so this is a really dark, heavy story. What are we supposed to take away from it all? I mean, what does Blanche's downfall teach us about how to be, stronger in our own lives? Let's go back to that paper lampshade, because it's honestly the perfect symbol for her whole life philosophy. She's just trying to soften the glare of reality. But here's the key. It doesn't offer any real protection. It just hides the chaos for a little while. The second you put any pressure on it, it's going to rip. So what's the opposite of that? Well, we could call it a living order. And if Blanche's way is a flimsy paper lampshade, a living order is like a sturdy lantern. It's not designed to hide from the storm, it's built to endure the storm. It doesn't try to mask reality, it actually illuminates it. It gives you real light and real strength. But building that kind of life, yeah, it's not easy. It takes things that Blanche just couldn't stomach. It means you have to be realistic. You have to be flexible. You've got to be strong. And probably the hardest parts? It requires the guts to look at reality, even when it's ugly, and the will to admit when you've messed up. It's about choosing to build your life on solid ground, not on the sinking sand of your past. So it all comes back to this one question, really. What happens when we choose magic over realism? Blanche's whole life, her entire tragic story, is the answer to that question. It's this huge warning sign about just how high the price of that choice can be. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Build on reality. Don't build your life on illusions. It's so tempting, but it's a trap. The real work is to accept reality, all of it, the good, the bad, the chaotic, and then use your will to create a life that's real and flexible and strong enough to handle whatever comes its way. One that won't just shatter when things get tough.